we're all ready, we're going to have so much fun. And we're going to talk about multitasking because I love this topic so much. So
yeah. Cool. Let's go.
Okay, you ready, Candace?
Can I be a little cheeky?
Absolutely.
I believe, and I realized this year, that there is absolutely nothing that I have to.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to have a conversation. Candace, can you please tell me how many kids you have?
I have 6 kids. Yeah, and I own my own business. I started my own business after I had my 6th baby. The other thing that has just barely happened is I am now coaching the freshman basketball team at the high school here where my kids go. So life is very, very busy, but full. I like to say full.
Full. Yeah. Love it. Oh my goodness. Kudos to you, Mama. I have three daughters.
Daughters are cool. So I have 4 daughters and a son, and she has 5 daughters and a son. No, we're just crazy over here in Utah, I think.
You know what? Now I feel like I'm so small right now.
3 kids is no joke, honestly.
3 kids is more than you have hands. That's all that matters. If you have more than hands, you're up a creek.
Welcome to the messy back end of entrepreneurship. This is Mark Deal of Podcast Editor Academy and Podcast Guest Academy. We all know that the back end is where most businesses fail. This is the podcast about cleaning up the messy back end so you can save time, make money, and succeed. I felt it myself due to people, processes, and platforms. And now here are your hosts, Sheila J. Logan and Nate Tucker.
Our guest co-host today is my good friend, Candace Noss. Candace is a physical therapist and life coach who has combined her deep faith roots to build her business, the mind, body, and spirit trifecta. Believe me, it's amazing. She has a body love weight loss course and a conquering confidence course where she is empowering women to take back their lives. You can check her out at CandaceNoss.com or find out more on themessybackend.com.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you all so much. We have a wonderful show for you today. Okay, let's be honest here. At one time or another, we've all highlighted multitasking as one of our greatest assets. But a little while ago, in a blog post on Harvard Business Review, the University of Bergen published findings that we are all bad at multitasking. When people think they're multitasking, they're actually just switching from one task to another very rapidly. Between being constantly contactable by email and phone, having overloaded work schedules, and attempting to concentrate for longer than we're actually able to, many of us end up trying to juggle several things at once as a way of coping. However, all that happens is we end up not actually being able to complete anything to the best of our ability because our attention is so scattered. It's time to make some changes. As Tim Ferriss once said, focus on being productive instead of being busy.
On our expert segment today, we're going to be speaking with Dijana Llugolli. Dijana is a leading success and business coach in Scandinavia and global influencer who helped more than 100 entrepreneurs from 23 countries to launch and scale their online business. She's not your usual coach with masters in business, but her expertise is in unique fusion of theory and practice as a serial entrepreneur for more than 16 years. Her online coaching business was built through her fierce drive to serve and impact millions and incredible collaborations and partnerships. She had a privilege to work with the most exceptional teams from Mind Valley and Dean Grazioso's enterprise as an ambassador and advocate for the next level in self-education.
And you'll hear real questions and stories from real entrepreneurs with real messy backends. As an added bonus for the Messy Backend Exposed, our expert, Dijana, will not only share her experience, expertise, and the tools she suggests to get your backend cleaned up, but she will also expose why multitasking can be your downfall.
If you're an entrepreneur with a messy backend and you'd like to submit your story or question for our experts to answer, give us a call at 801-810-6726 or visit us at themessybackend.com. Thank you so much for joining us on today's episode of The Messy Backend, brought to you by our digital marketing agency, Lock and Load Marketing, where if it tires you out, you can hire it out. We're fast approaching episode 100, so we wanted to take a minute and stop and thank you for being such great listeners.
Seriously, we can't do this without you. Thank you so much for listening and supporting us these last 2 years. We've loved sharing our expert guests, our stories, our experiences, our embarrassing, messy back-end bloopers with you. We've just loved everything about this podcast. And if you love the show as much as we do, we want to hear from you. Leave a review on your favorite podcast platform or email us at hello@themessybackend.com. Who knows? Soon we may just have cool branded swag to give out to our top fans.
That's going to be super cool. And don't forget to subscribe to your favorite podcast platform. You can find all of those links at themessybackend.com/subscribe. So never miss an episode because they're pretty fun. Then check us out on Facebook and YouTube for video episodes. Now on to our expert, Dijana, for her expert advice. Don't mess your seat, folks. Here we go.
Today, we have a messy back-end question submitted by an anonymous listener. I'm a multitasker, but I keep hearing that multitasking is less productive. Is multitasking a productivity killer?
Okay, so first I want to say thank you, Sheila and Candice, for having me. And where to start? I think that there is a myth that multitasking is a thing. I don't know about you, but I felt for so long time, like, I can do this. I'm a multitasker. I was so proud, like I can do so many stuff at once. And I realized, I think it was 4 or 5 years ago, I came across to a research. It was one university, I don't even know, where they actually said that that's not even a thing. And I was like, what, that's not even a thing, like multitasking. Like, of course it's a thing. We all do it, like especially moms. And I was blown away by the research that showed like really how much we go downfall when we are trying to switch context or, task or whatever. I was like, oh my God, that's it. And once I started to really and it didn't take overnight. Now I'm just going to be like full focused. It took me few years to actually go to one thing and be fully present, fully focused. Also with kids, we're practicing something that is actually called 50 minutes with one kid. You who have multiple kids, that's sometimes impossible, but we see that actually after 2-3 years, focusing just on one kid, total focus, makes them more happy, makes me more happy, and it works. I don't think, but what do you feel? Is a multitasking thing or not? I know that it's not for me.
I think for me, it seems like I was better at it when I was younger. And the older I get, the harder it is, the more mistakes I make. And so right now, if I'm working, I have to have my blinders on. And, my family knows, unless she's not looking at you, she doesn't hear what you're saying. So you got to wait till she's looking at you. And so they've learned that whenever I'm working, that I can't do more than one thing. And one of my latest saying has been, I can either be a mom or a wife or an entrepreneur. I can't do all three. Certainly, those are all outside the bounds. And so what I have found is doing one thing at a time. I get that one thing done faster and better than if I'm trying to kind of mix it up. But yeah, I've always thought that multitasking was a thing and it was something that needed to be done. But like you said, the older I get, the more I realize that I need to do that. And I think you're right. So my youngest just turned 17, and I'm noticing that she needs more attention. And so I'm looking back and I'm realizing when they were all little, they all got more attention. But the older they get, they kind of start going on their own, right? She's got her own car. She drives to school. She's got 4 billion friends. She's always going and doing things. But taking that time and spending just with her is like taking time for a client. That what you put into it is what you're going to get out of it. And Candice is probably feeling the same way, I have 5 children. Dijana, you have 3 children. Candice is ruling the world with 6 children, and her children are incredible, let me tell you. But you probably see the same thing, don't you? With now that you have your own business and you're trying to do the business and be a wife and be a mom and a basketball coach.
Absolutely. It is the trickiest juggle. But the thing that I have found is when you are present in the moment, something magical happens. But when you are on your headphones, listening to a podcast, cooking dinner, writing an email on the side, and trying to have a conversation with somebody else, no one's getting the best of you. And you're spread too thin to really do anything well. And I have for sure come to that conclusion that I've got to schedule my life in a way where I can give 100% focus to where I need to be at each moment in order to get the most effective and the most productivity out of my energy, truly.
And funny, I just wanted to say, I can say that there is one thing that I can multitask. That is cooking dinner and listening to the podcast. But I think that most of all, it comes down to the task that requires like brain power. I think there listening to the podcast can be fun, uplifting, and also I love to cook. So it doesn't requires from me to really like brain power or hard thinking. It's fun. So, but if you are writing an email and also discussing with your kid, I don't know, it doesn't feel right. It feels also that they are getting a small portion of you, and the time is so of essence. And I think when you are fully committed, you said, Sheila, you do one thing in less time, and also you commit yourself fully. And I think that's the beauty of it. And what you said, I see my oldest daughter, she's 13. She is a master of multitasking. This is crazy. Those kids, I don't know, they're on Zoom having lectures, and they are talking with friends on the phone, and also TikToking. And I think that's, teenagers master, especially these young now, this age, new age.
Well, children are born with microchips now in their brains. So they can do that. They're like little mini robots in the back of their brain. So what do you think? So I know for me, kind of what came crashing down was the fact that I kind of felt like I was dropping all the balls. If 1 minute I felt like I had all the balls in the air, and the next minute I was like, the balls aren't even in the room anymore. What happened to everything? And so that kind of was the wall that I hit. Sometimes they say, like, if you have a really bad habit, you have to hit rock bottom before you can change it. That kind of is what happened to me. What kind of tips do you have for our listeners? The entrepreneurs, we all have these brains that are just going 100 miles an hour in 25 different directions all the time. What are your best tips to help figure out how to get that under control?
That's a great question. I think for me also, because I have ADHD, really to focus on, right? To focus on one thing was a really, really hard thing to do. What I realized that I get so easily tired when I use my brain to juggle multiple things, because it's if you imagine like a lamp, if you are flashlighting in one direction and you switch off and switch on and switch off and switch on and switch on, it crazy, your brain can't function like that way. And I realized that I get really easily burned out. So what really helps me, I would say, with productivity and to be able to actually focus on one thing, batching is super, super, that's my favorite thing to do. If I have podcasts or interviews, I would batch them in one day. Or if I have content creation, I need to write something, I would do that one day. So I don't need to also context switch because that doesn't work for me either. And the second, I would say Pomodoro. Yeah.
Sorry, when you're talking about batching, that means you're taking all of the things that go in one group and doing it all in one day.
Yes.
And trying to make every day full of 5 different things, but doing all of that in one day. Awesome.
So for example, I have coaching clients I have only on Tuesdays and Fridays, where I know, okay, I'm not going to switch. I'm going to be fully present as a coach, and I'm going to I have these coaching clients, and it's easy for me to actually serve them in a best way. When I need to write, I'm not a good writer. So it takes a lot of strength and power for me to write. So if I would go and I'm going to write an email, and then I'm going to record a podcast, and then I'm going to coach client, oh my God, I'm total mess. After 3 hours, I crash.
Yeah.
So for me, batching is super, 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 really, really good.
I do the same thing. Actually, I kind of accidentally started doing that because when I very first started out, they tell you to put up a schedule on your website so people can schedule a time. So I had the schedule opener from 8 till 5, Monday through Friday. And the next thing I knew it, within 30 days, I was literally booked every 15 minutes for a month. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Well, first off, I learned how to get to my 15-minute discovery call, from finding out what they need to actually getting them their credit card out. In 15 minutes, I can make a sale. So I did learn that. So on the one hand, it was helpful, but on the other hand, I was like, okay, this is ridiculous. So I go on other people's podcasts on Mondays. I use Tuesdays to prepare for my podcast. I record on Wednesdays. I edit on Thursdays, and Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I do my writing. Because I'm with you, like I'm the worst writer. I'm trying to get a book down. I'm like 50 pages in, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to finish this book.
It's crazy. Yeah, I'm the same. Like I'm just like about to wrap up. I actually got 3 or 4 times back my editor's notes, and I'm just like, no, please don't send me back, like back and forth and back. Can we just finish with this thing? Because for me, like, and that's why I became a podcaster, because it's so easy for me to communicate. Like it's fast. Let's just do it, people can feel it. People, and English is not my first language. So writing it's not something that comes normal to me, natural to me. And the second thing, I think Pomodoro also works for me really, really great to have these small breaks. Even I don't have my water bottle when I work at my desk for that particular reason. So I can, just stand up and walk and, have this little break after 25 minutes or 30 minutes. That works really good for me.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, especially now when we are all like working from home. And for me, now when I'm actually not out and about, when I'm not taking like fresh air, this really, really helps. Like just to stand and, just improve your posture. It immediately increases your productivity and energy.
Yeah, I've noticed that. So being a physical therapist, I have a very strong understanding of the body and how the body needs to move, and your body needs to have an opportunity to have the blood pump, have the joints move, have the heart be working, have the oxygen exchange in your lungs. That is so healthy for your body. And so for me, it has seemed like with multitasking, it's a little counterintuitive to plan in something that takes time away from those things that you feel are important. As I put first things first and make sure I take care of my body, everything else falls in alignment. And I think there's so much power to really understanding that, taking breaks, moving your body, getting out in nature. Absolutely.
But what you said, when it comes to multitasking, it's also like, why do we switch to another thing? Because we don't find motivation in a thing that we are doing right now. And actually taking a break will get you, and there's also a research about that, because and it's so connected with how our productivity after a certain period like goes down. And when you actually go up and, just fix your posture and just like do breathing or exercising or whatever, your productivity goes up. And when you sit down, you don't have a need to actually multitask or to switch to another thing.
Yeah, I agree with that. So, but be careful what you pray for though, right? Because like being a spiritual person, I prayed one time. I said, okay, I'm like sitting 15 hours a day and this has got to stop. Like I had gained weight. I knew Candace during this time. I had gotten up, like I'd gained like 40 pounds and I've since lost it. But I was like, I got to find a way to get up. So I'm praying. I'm like, okay, help me find a way to get up. So I set alarms. I tried all the things. Nothing was working. So my dryer broke. So I had to go hang out clothes every hour. So I went outside, hung out the clothes. And so I did that for a couple of months and that kind of got me moving. But I was like, yeah, every time I walked out to the clothesline, I'm looking up at heaven going, you're funny. I appreciate it. I need a dryer, but it's true. You do need to get up and get moving. And sometimes the universe does that for you. And don't wait till it does it for you, get up and do it yourself. But I think having the water like that, I would get up like every half hour if I had the water over there. But I do 4 power hours every day. So 45 minutes, I turn off all my alarms. I focus on one thing. I'll have a list of 3 just in case I get done. And I focus on one thing for those 45 minutes. And then I have to get up for 15 minutes and do something, whether it's the dishes or go for a walk or go talk to a child. And then I also have made it a point when my children get home from school that I turn off things. And when my husband gets home from work, I turn off things. And that forces me, and to separate myself from whatever I'm doing. So that works for me to keep me moving.
Mm-hmm. 45 minutes works too. I think it goes back to knowing yourself and knowing like what is your capacity and capability. For me, 25 minutes, 30 minutes max is like, now I'm just like rambling. Like, what was this? That's nothing. I feel myself. I that's not productive. I need to switch.
So when you have so many things on your plate that have to get done, right? I mean, you've got deadlines, you've got kids, you've got all these things that have to be done. How do you prioritize and really put the first things first and really focus on only one thing when 6 things need to get done?
Can I be a little cheeky?
Absolutely.
I believe, and I realized this year, that there is absolutely nothing that I have to. And I love to actually frame myself into what it is that I love to. And I got to a point where I was such a people pleaser, and I would like, you have to be this, you have to do this, you have to, and that also leads to one, resentment, two, burnout. And when I realized that if I can, don't get me wrong, there are things that you should be doing in your business, right? Like serving your clients, but priming myself and actually saying to myself, like, this is what I love doing, instead of like, I have to do, I should be doing. And I think that planning is key, and planning so that it's aligned with your lifestyle, your capabilities, your whatever that is. Because even if, again, bad thing, and you're trying to do everything with a push and trying to, force something, it doesn't get done in a way that you would want to do.
You're not present because you're pushing instead of enjoying.
And that's always the result of pushing something and trying to do it with force. It will always be, result will be something forced.
Not authentic. We need to be super authentic. I actually went through this process when I met my husband. The very first thing I remember telling him is like, I wish I had somebody who could manage my life for me. Cause I'm so like, I'm feeling like I'm being pulled in 5,000 different directions. I have this gigantic list of things that need to be done. And, it just kept getting longer. My list to do kept getting longer, and even though I was checking things off. And so I said, I kind of joked about it. But as it turns out, he's actually a project manager for the Army. So we actually did an episode with him just a couple episodes ago where he talked about decision making and making sure that you make these decisions. So he had done this with me, and I went back through my list and I looked at every single thing on my list of 150 things. And I said, is this necessary? Is this a have to? Is this, or if this is a need to or want to? And I narrowed it down, and I actually changed my entire business and my entire future focus based on those questions for myself. Is this a necessity? Does it help me with my priorities in life? My priorities in life are my family first, and my business second. And so now that I don't, granted, I'm not the breadwinner anymore. And before, those two things were even. Whenever I was, it was up to me to keep a roof over my kid's head, my family and my business were equal priorities. But even then, I was able to cut so many things off that I had just kept, I want to do courses, and I want to do this social media over that one, and I want to do this and that and the other, and 12 other things. I realized that they weren't really necessary to reach the end goals that I wanted to reach. So yeah, I think you need to look at your priorities. And when you know what those are, if you have a list of things you need to do, compare those with the priorities in your life. Are they really going to help you reach them?
Yeah, 100%. And I think also one example that I realized that is so inaligned, so unauthentic, was actually like social media. Yeah. I would be this planner. I would schedule all the social media, and I would like, oh, good, this is so fun. But what I realized, that message was kind of disconnected with where I was at the point in time when one social media post would go out. And that doesn't even resonate with my life right now. And what I realized, instead of like, I have to schedule and post every day, I'm going to post it when I feel like it. And it's going to come from my heart. It's going to show how I feel at this present moment. And people respond so good to that.
You also have to be careful with those pre-scheduled posts, because if something in the world happens and you've got a post coming out, I mean, we've all seen how that goes when somebody, has something pre-scheduled and then some kind of catastrophe happened and then your post goes out and you're like, oh, whoopsie.
And I love what you said too about the word should. I like to have that be like a blaring, like, you need to take an extra look at that. Should, there's all those funny sayings, quit shitting on yourself. Don't pile yourself in a big old pile of should. That always makes me remember, okay, am I operating out of an expectation? Is there like a manual of what a good mom looks like? And I think, well, I should do this and I should do that and I should do this. And then pretty soon I'm covered in a whole big pile of should, and I'm not showing up how I want, and I'm operating out of white knuckling and gritting my teeth and pushing like you're talking about, and saying I have to instead of I get to. And it's really powerful for me when I notice that word should, to take a step back and say, am I people pleasing? Am I really functioning in this role as I want? And I have an example, because my kids, I feel like I should provide food for my family, right? That's what a mom should do. And I've recently come to the conclusion that actually my kids need to learn how to cook, and my kids do a really good job. And when I don't cook it, they actually eat it. When they cook it, then they realize what goes into all of it. And so I think sometimes examining those shoulds and examining those roles like you're talking about really can give you some clarity on, are you doing what makes you happy, and is that actually necessary?
Yeah, you mentioned something beautiful. Like I came to a point several times where I didn't feel happy, and it was hard to let go, because we are habitual beings. We have certain habits, but if they become unhealthy, especially for moms, because we always try to prioritize someone else than ourselves. And when you become unhappy, your surrounding becomes unhappy.
Well, you know what they say about the mom. If the mom is unhappy, the whole household is unhappy.
Right.
And it's the truth, though, isn't it? But if you are the main business runner and you aren't happy, you're going to be pushing away all of those positive things that are coming your way. You have to keep this positive attitude and keep yourself open too. In one of my other episodes, this guy that I talked to, and I'm going to remember his name tonight at midnight, I'm sure. I can see his face, but he talks
after we done the podcast. Oh, that was him.
Yeah, Jeff Mendelson. There it is. Okay, so Jeff Mendelson was talking about this client that he had was super toxic, and he had to fire this client and give the client his money back. So I'm just going to give your money back because, this is just, it's not working out. And that happens sometimes. And he said, as soon as he did that, he actually got a better client. And if you're not open to those things that are happening and you're not aware, if he had not been, focusing on one thing at a time, if he had been, all over the place, he might have not done that. So if we keep ourselves open and we're not multitasking and we're freeing up our mind and we're slowing down. Oh my Lanta, this is like my biggest thing is like, I want my life to be slower, not so rushed. Then you open yourself up to so many more good things that can come your way.
Yeah. And I think I'm coming from a place where I'm a big hustler. Like I'm really like I'm an immigrant kid. I come from parents who were really like, they would pride themselves with, we have this work discipline and work ethic. And they would always tell me, you need to work hard. You need to work hard. And that's how I operated for most of my life until I realized, it's not working, because when I'm working hard, like, yeah, maybe you make money, but you're not happy, or, you're not spending so much time with your kids, or there is something that is lacking, or you're sacrificing something. I said, there has to be a better way. But I realized that happiness is a choice. And when I choose to be happy already, I manifest the things that I want to manifest. And the happiness, if that's like the ultimate thing, my core value is like happiness and health. These are top priorities. If they're not fulfilled, no money can actually fulfill, anything else. So I think like really getting clear with your priorities. What are your values? maybe take a check-in with yourself. Maybe you already have what you desire, but you're just so blinded. I want this. We want more. And especially women, like in this day and age, we are meant for more. We have to have more. And, and it gets like, sometimes we forget what we already have.
I also believe strongly that the emotion that you're generating your actions from matters. So if you feel like you're multitasking, it seems like the emotion is overwhelmed, right? And if you're operating your life from overwhelm, the result that you're going to get is not going to be in alignment with who you truly are. But if you're operating your life from love, right? So you're thinking before that emotion, your thoughts create your feelings. You're thinking, I get to do this. I love what I do. I am 100% present in this moment, and I'm so grateful. That generates the love and the gratitude that then allows you to really, really be present and really get the results that you're hoping for, that are in alignment with that girl that does love to hustle, but it's because she loves it, not because she has to.
Yeah. And I think like when you say like that, multitasking, like if you would just imagine a life where you're giving like 50% here and 50% here, and no one of these like things or people, they're getting a full attention, but what do you say to them? What is the sign of that? You're rushing into things. And I don't know, like for us, it has always been like what you said, Sheila, like I want my life to be slow. I want to enjoy my life. And if you are rushing things, you're not enjoying things. It doesn't fulfill you. And multitasking is a way of rushing things. I just want to speed up this. Let's just get it done, like two things at once, It doesn't work. I strongly believe that that's not a thing. And productivity wise, there are so many studies and like it doesn't work.
Yeah, I agree. And like you said, if I was giving my family 50% and my business 50%, I'm not doing anybody any kind of justice.
No.
So if you just take a step back and you give 100% when you're giving it to that particular person, it's like I said at the beginning, my children, they know that if I'm not looking at them, I'm not hearing them. They try and sneak things in sometimes. I admit, they're like, oh, Mom, I told you. You remember I told you while you were. I'm like, no, if I'm not looking at you, you're not telling me. If I looking in your beautiful blue eyes, because if I wasn't, I didn't hear you. And so they know when I'm looking at them that I am 100% engaged in what they're saying, and I'm not thinking about this anymore. And that's hard. It is hard to turn it off. But being so good at being productive. So multitasking is one part of being more productive, or single tasking. What do they call? What's the term for like not multitasking?
Laser focus.
There you go. There you go. What would be your, so maybe some other ideas that you can have for us to be more productive during our day once we are able to, get outside of thinking about too many things at one time?
Yeah. What helps me really is like to sit down and to plan my day, or not just, Sundays are really like, I take 1 hour on Sunday and just go through my schedule and I say, okay, these are the things that will be happening this week. But then also like this evening, I'm going to sit and I'm going to say, okay, what are the next 3 things that I'm going to be focusing on tomorrow? And like really like, okay, I'm going to like own this even before it starts. But tomorrow I have a meeting where maybe, I have to be aware, I have to be present, I need to be, rested. So I know that already in the evening, when I go to sleep, I'm just going to say, thank you for this beautiful meeting that's going to happen tomorrow. And I think this really, really helps. And then in the morning, for me, like morning routine, taking that time for myself is like blessing. And you probably, I don't know if you have a morning routine. For me, really works. And my kids know that when I'm in my meditation mode, like, don't touch me. Sometimes the little one, she's 4, she would snuggle and she would just, cuddle, but she's quiet and she would just come and be in peace. And I think that's also a sign and a teaching for them that you can have this space, especially as girls, they're all girls, take that time for yourself. I think that's also something like, modeling that for them. Once I'm done with my routine, I would go and, okay, so these are the things I already know. I already primed them last night, and I'm excited about that. I don't need to think if this is going to be, awkward, stressful. I already got this. I own it. So that helps for me, really. Having a little evening routine and morning routine.
Yeah. Do you feel like, I am a recent meditator, love it, and can't believe that it took me 40 years to find meditation. But maybe speak to meditation for a minute, because when I began meditating, I thought you sit there and your brain shuts off and you just sit in the quiet. And the best thing that I learned about meditation was your brain thinks like your heart beats. So don't expect the thoughts to stop, or else you'll die. Like if your heart stopped beating, you would die. If your brain stopped thinking, you would be dead. But what have you found during your meditation that helps you to stay focused? And because a lot of times you'll sit there and your brain's going to go 15 miles an hour thinking of all the things. You have to multitask instead of how do you
yeah. And I think being aware that thoughts are part of the process. You're meditating so that you can actually go and experience those thoughts. Because when do we actually take time to listen to our thoughts? We don't, because we are so connected to the external stuff and what other people are thinking or what other people are saying, that we don't listen to our thoughts. And when we get the chance to actually connect with our mind, body, and soul, and accepting that this is part of the process, listening to your thoughts, it gets so much easier. I always thought that you need to be like, you don't hear anything when you meditate. That was my belief. But I realized that for me actually works to listen to my chatter. And it becomes like after maybe 10 minutes or so, it quiets.
Yeah, and that's what I
really
found. Yeah, because you don't give yourself, it's almost like building a relationship with you, right? Where you're
so good.
Present with you. I mean, just like we want to be present with our kids, that meditation is where we're present with us, and we give those thoughts credence for a second, and we see where they take us, and we take a ride with those thoughts and see like what really is bugging me. But it's interesting, and I don't know if you found this too, but after I meditate, my brain is quiet and I can focus, because I've given me that time. I've centered myself on me, who I am, what my purpose is, why I'm here. And then I'm able to then move. Have you found your mind quiet after?
Yeah. My mind is like Sheila, I think you said, like we operate like 100,000 ideas per mile. This is how we entrepreneurs work. What I found that meditation really helped me to keep in line with my vision, with my mission, because sometimes you get like, okay, let's do this. No, let's just see, what is that? Like, where is this coming from? Is this like from my ego, or is this does that serve my purpose? And oftentimes I just say, okay, no, that's just something that, came randomly. This is not even what I want to do. So yeah, it helps you to stay centered and to stay in check, aligned with your mission, I think. I was, oh my God, my coach, I started to meditate 2016. And when she said, like, we're going to do a meditation of 20 minutes. And I tried 20 seconds, like, no way, like, what? You said 20 minutes, like, what, are you kidding me? I would go like, no, this doesn't work for me. And she said, try, trust the process. You don't master this thing in an instant. You need to give it a time. And this is what I did. I gave it a time, and I don't know, I became like, I really started to love meditation. And that made, again, like I tried to enjoy that. Not something that you need to do, but instead like, yeah, I'm going to enjoy this and I'm going to see where it takes me. And, meditation, I would definitely recommend to everyone, because it also like connects you with your breath. Do we actually give it a credit? We need to breathe in order to operate, to live, but we are not present with our breath. And
Yeah.
that's kind of sad.
Something that I just barely learned that blew my mind is when you breathe slowly, like, in for 4 seconds, out for 4 seconds, you actually access your higher brain, your creativity center, you're the place where you analyze and strategize and operate at your highest. And taking that time to breathe. I mean, we're talking about being laser focused here, right? We're talking about laser focus, and taking those 15 minutes to meditate, to breathe, to focus on who you are and why you're here, on your mission, on your outcomes, on your compelling reasons. That to me is a game changer as far as being spread so thin and putting first things first and making a plan that's effective. That breath, I mean, a lot of us are in that fight or flight mode all the time. And we're just like working on this anxiety system where we're not taking that time to just breathe. And there's so much power in that.
I remember the first time I meditated too, Dijana, because I had the same reaction. I was actually in a room. It was at one of those events, it was an energy healing event. It was one of my first energy healing events. And the whole room, everybody's like, she's like, oh, and we're going to meditate. And she played music and she's like talking all calmly and telling us what to do. And I'm like sitting there going, oh my gosh, this is never going to be over. This is ridiculous. I'm not learning a thing. But by the end of it, my mind slowed down. And I think for me, it's like you said, Candace, I learned to, breathe, but to take my mind off the racetrack and sit on the sideline and just slow things down. So for me, running is where I get my best meditation because I can't do anything else. So like you, Dijana, I have ADD. And so I always have to be doing something with my hands. Well, if I'm running, then I'm not having to do anything with my hands. Nobody can bother me. I actually will find myself like, wait, how did I get here? I don't remember how I got where I ran to. And so that's, I'm like, that was a good meditation because by the time I get back, my brain is clear. And like you said, Candace, I'm thinking on a higher level. And my morning routines, this is new I've just been married just since October. I just got married. And my poor husband, because he has his morning routine, but he doesn't realize. So for the last 10 years, I've had my morning routine by myself. And so for me, I'm like, my mornings are quiet and contemplative, and I do reading and I do meditation and I do, all these different things. He wakes up like freaking Tigger, bouncing around all loud and everything else. I'm like, I can't do that in the morning. I gotta like come at peace with myself before I start the day. So having the morning routine, the evening routine, and not multitasking, in my opinion, are probably 3 of the most important things you can do to be more productive and be a better person, be a better entrepreneur, be a better mother, better sister, better friend. Candace, I feel terrible. Like Candace is one of my dearest friends and I love her to the world and back. And she sent me a Marco Polo like 2 weeks ago, I think. And I have not replied to it because I'm going too fast, but she knows I love her. So.
And I think it's also, when you are accepting the fact that you are trying to escape your thoughts, that's also something that you need to, think about. Why am I trying to escape? What is this telling me? I want to run from my thoughts. Like, okay, let's just ask why. Just go deep, and once you are like really peeling those, questions and going to the bottom, you find yourself in so much peace because you got that clarity.
And I think there's such a power in giving yourself some compassion. Like, no wonder I'm feeling this way. Look at what my thoughts are doing, And also, I think one of the most magical pills, like the secret weapon in living a life that isn't so harried, is grace. I think giving ourselves a little bit of grace and giving ourselves that time to breathe and that time to meditate and giving ourselves some grace that, you know what, if I've got 15 balls juggling, there's going to be 5 that fall and I'm only human and it's okay. Like I love me anyway, I'm doing the best I can. I'm a work in progress and I love me anyway. And right now it's this time, it's this moment, and grace has been a very powerful tool for me in loving and accepting my best effort and moving forward without beating myself up.
Oh, and women are so good at beating yourself. Like we are the queens of beating ourselves up. If I talk to my friends the same way I talk to myself,
Oh no. Oh,
I would
my
have no
goodness.
friends.
Women, you said Grace. Oh, I think this is so key, because acknowledging yourself that you did your best, like that's the best gift that you can give to yourself. Like, I did my best. I didn't do as best as, Sir Richard Branson, because he doesn't juggle 50 balls, but I did my best, right? I did what I could do, and acknowledging yourself. I take care of 6 kids. What? Like, be proud of that. Like, seriously.
But not only that, but like congratulating ourselves, like, go me. I did that today. And I feel like in this society, yes, it's not like you're saying I'm amazing. It's just building momentum so that you can continue to move forward. Have you found that, Dijana? Have you found that, like, when you pat yourself on the back?
Yeah, 100%. Because I think that, even if I didn't do, I don't do to-do lists, I do to-be lists. I ask myself I ask myself every day, who do I need to be in order to accomplish my best self? I think that we go back to that. We need to do. We're not human doings. We are human beings. And being, being while you are executing those things is the best thing that you can do. And when you acknowledge yourself that you were being in this day, whatever you did, or is the best. I think just being present with yourself and honest with yourself, and sometimes even if you haven't accomplished all your activities, ask yourself, why is that? Maybe there was something that happened that just something happened in a day, and so what? Life is not like circle. And this is one of my favorites. Like, we think that there is an expiration. It's not. We get to we get to experience ourselves next day again, right? It doesn't end at 9 p.m., 10 p.m., whatever,
Dijana, I think you are brilliant. I'm so glad that we got connected and that you joined us for the episode today. I know that Candace and I think the 3 of us could hang out and just have a good old time.
I think this was great. Like, really, really, it's refreshing to see. And I think this is an important message, especially for your listeners. But I think that if my audience will listen to this, which they will, my message is always, take it easy. Life is just, it happens to you. Like, and this is probably the drop. I'm going to drop the mic here. There was a chance for you to be born in this world was 400, I don't know how many zeros. So take that chance, because it's not an accident that you are in this planet right here, right now. If it doesn't make you smile, don't do it. Don't do it.
I love it. Oh my gosh, I love it so much. Okay, well, I love your podcast, and I'm your next #1 biggest fan. So thank you so much for joining us today.
And you're going to be on my podcast. I'm really excited.
Thanks for listening to today's episode of The Messy Backend. We know you can't get enough of us. So have us on your podcast or have us speak at your next event. Visit themessybackend.com/speaking and send us your event details.
It's true, we love speaking. And we also want to thank our sponsor, Yes Women's Network, where you will find the connections you need to achieve your dreams. Find out more at yeswomensnetwork.com.
Also, our advertiser, PodServe FM. We couldn't do it without them. They get your podcast hosted and published quickly and easily. Visit them at podserve.fm/messy to find out more.
And a thank you to our advertiser, ThriveCart. They are the #1 shopping cart software that grows your income from existing traffic with high converting checkout pages, upsells, and affiliate campaigns. Watch the video for how simple this cart solution is at themessybackend.com/cart.
Once again, don't miss an episode. Head on over to your favorite podcast platform and subscribe today.
That's all we have for today's episode of The Messy Backend. I'm Ella Glasgow, the general contractor of virtual events, founder of Beyond Virtual Events, where we create done-for-you, stress-free virtual events. And I don't know about you, but I'm feeling like my backend is getting clearer with every episode. I can tell you from my experience that keeping a solid eye on our mission to pull up on the greatness in people has been a key to the success of our business. Join us again next week as experts share more customized business advice and tips about all the messy stuff that goes on in the back end of entrepreneurship. Remember, you're not alone. Every business has a messy back end that needs a little attention.
I call my good friend Candace. We're in real life good friends. Has Candace even ever done a podcast? Would she be willing to do that? Is she going to be too busy? And I was like, I don't care. I'm texting her right now. So
you're cute, Shayla. You're Shayla. You're cute. You're like a like a puppy. Like you just want to cuddle. But Candace has this. I'm very high vibe. My energy is through the roof. Like I can dance 24 hours. Yeah, you have something that is really like grounding me. I don't know what it is, but your energy is. Otherwise, I would be crazy on this podcast. But there is something magical that you do.
Kind of special that way.
Look.
Are you getting goosebumps?
See, but yeah. Like thank God your friend is on the plane. Like thank
right?
God. It happened for us.
Right. Stop it more. Stop it some more.
I love it.
Remind me one more time how to say your last name. Llugolli?
Yes.
Okay, with the southern accent. That's how you say it. With the
Llugolli. It's Albanian.
It's what?
So I'm born and raised in Slovenia to Bosnian parents, and I live in Sweden with Albanian blood. That's a crazy mix.
Oh, that's why, because your accent isn't one or the other. It's a little bit of a mix of, it's a hybrid.
My multitasking accent. It's like, this is how my brain operates in 4 different languages. On a daily basis. It's crazy. We in Sweden, like we are the crazy ones and we don't even like know what is lockdown. So I don't know what you guys are talking about. Like seriously, I don't know. Because we live a normal life, like business as usual.
I'm moving to Sweden. No, she is a life coach and a physical therapist. And so talk about multitasking. This woman gets more done in a day than anybody I know. I don't even know how she does it all. So. Oh my gosh, I love her so much.
So darling.
Oh. She's so cute.
Baby.
She's phenomenal.
Darling woman.
Yeah.
I love, she was like, can I just be a little cheeky with you right now?
Oh,
yeah, girl, give it to me. Give me what you got. Like, let's go. And you're here. Let me start that one again. Sorry.
She has a body love weight course. Oh my gosh. And Dean Grazioso's entrepreneur. And Dean Grazioso's bloopers are the best.